All right, everybody. Boy Green meets Wudi, a brand new program every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 o'clock. Let's go. Zoinks! It is unequivocally the Super Bowl for New York Jet fans.
Field Yates, baby. Field Gosh darn Yates. Let's bring him on the show.
Come on, people. Connor Rogers is joining the show. What's up, Connor? But Trevor Gosh darn Sycamore, baby, for me, personally, my favorite New York Jet of all time.
Wow, it's great to be on. What an intro that was right there.
Paul, nobody does an intro like you, man.
Paul, you give the best intro of literally any podcast that I've ever done.
I'm gonna lose my gosh darn bananas.
I'm a man of my word. I said that Wudi would no longer be on Boy Green Daily during the offseason. I just so happened to forget to mention the birth of a brand new show, Boy Green Meets Wudi, featuring Boy Green and Wudi. Wudi, what's up, man? Afternoon program and no longer the morning airwaves, Tuesdays, Thursdays, 3 o'clock. Debut episode right now.
There has been a birth. There has been a birth. Wah, wah. What is this? A new show? Boy Green meets Wudi. Here we are, happy and healthy. That's all we care about, happy and healthy. Boy Green already told you I wasn't on Boy Green Daily. I mean, hey, your boy, it's tough. It's tough in those mornings. But in the afternoon, I'm telling you, we back. We here. We're gonna talk Jets. All right. We're gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna talk about everything top to bottom and in the middle, all the above. Your boy Green, and there will be some Wudiology from none other than James Wudi.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Everybody, we're streaming live in 3 places. 2 of them you're already familiar with, but there is a third that has been thrown into the octagon. So we're on YouTube, youtube.com/BoyGreen25, of course. Show your support. Twitter, @BoyGreen25. And for the first time, you see it at that very handle under that handsome mug, at the James Wudi on Instagram. Guys, you can watch and make sure you support no matter which way that you're watching. Again, this will be every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 o'clock. So start getting it familiar with your schedule. And today's episode, our debut episode, we turn in to, we was talking about Wudiology. Well, Professor Wudi, Professor Boy Green will be handing out our report cards for the season. Hopefully the Jets studied up for the grades we're about to be handing out. I'm going to be honest, I think they might have missed a few classes, and they maybe docked a few shekels by the end of this thing, which we will discuss. So, Wudi, let's get right into it with the Jets report card. And I'm going to be honest, it's not a sterling performance, not one I'm running home to Mama to show her so she could throw up on the refrigerator. But we're going to, and let us break it down for how we're going to be doing this and how we've broken down these categories, Wudi. There will be 7 categories in which we grade, and they go as follows. Offensive performance. That's the players. That's the players on the field. How did they perform? So offense and defense and special teams, each of those will be their own category. Again, that we're grading on the performance of the players on the field. Separately, so those 3 categories, players, offense, defense, special teams. The same coaching of the offense, defense, and special teams, how all of those performed. And then finally, a generic overall category of GM roster construction. How good of a job did Joe Douglas do grabbing the ingredients from your local Quickie Mart? And we don't have it listed on the sheet, Woody, but probably in 8th or overall will be some level of judging of Robert Saleh, who as I noticed as we went through this grading performance sheet, we don't really have anything dedicated specifically to him, I suppose. Overall. So there will be some grading of Saleh just on the job that he did, probably holding down the locker room and things of that nature for diving in. So, Woody, do you want to go first or second here? Where do you want to go?
They say first is the worst, second is the best, but I do want to go first.
Okay. First, feel free, please.
Yes. So, is it time? Is class in session?
There we go.
Is
Oh,
it?
we got the okay. Let's get the bifocals out. Let's
Yeah.
see what we got going on here. Let's start off with the please the offensive performance, the players on the field. Professor Wudi, what kind of grade are we handing out here?
Well, here's the thing. I think I'm a fair grader. I think I'm a fair grader,
Okay,
and
unbiased, of
to
course.
me, C is average. So
Okay,
that right off the bat, are you an average team? You're a C. If you're above average, below average. That's simply how we're taking this.
okay, interesting. All right,
And for the offensive performance,
yeah, the players on the
you,
field. Hmm.
you may think this is generous, but I gave them a C. I did give them a C. I liked what I saw from a lot of the players. Okay. Garrett Wilson was better than last year. I know statistically it didn't look like that, but we'll talk about why that is. But he was more confident. He was more explosive. I mean, the jump balls that this man was getting, they should have been throwing him more jump balls, but they didn't. Brees Hall, somebody who, and all the reports were saying that Brees was ready to play. He was already. Was he running at this time last year? Like he was already doing
Yeah,
football related stuff early into the season, but the team was so nervous. They got Dalvin Cook, all that, and what was that? I mean, Aaron Rodgers gave him the handoff for his first explosive
23-yard
run.
run. Yeah,
Yeah.
23 yards. Yep.
So Brees came back better. Garrett was better. Be careful with the pitchforks. Zach Wilson was better this year than years past. I mean, that's it. It's actually inarguable. It is like he
Okay.
was better. We did see some regression. We seen, CJ Uzoma. I'm not sure how many people, are trying to see him return. Alan Lazard definitely does not seem like someone who is worth the dollars.
44 million.
And Dalvin Cook, somebody else who may not have added up to the dollars. And then there's the curious case of Mekhi Becton, who I actually applaud. I put him in the pro column because this is the first year that he was healthy of his entire. This is the most games he's played in his entire career, including that rookie season. But of course, that came with him allowing the most pressures in the NFL and having the most false starts in the league. So I would say all of those balance each other out. Solid C for the offensive performance.
Well, Woody, you characterized yourself as a fair grader, did you not?
I did.
I wonder what you're going to call me after this, because I'm going to be honest, was not as generous as you with the offensive performance grade. I give him a D minus.
Wow.
A D minus. And the only saving grace, the only reason they weren't an F is because of some of the players you mentioned. Brees Hall, Garrett Wilson. So, because again, we're not grading the coaching, we're grading the performance of the players on the field. That's what we're grading. Brees Hall appeared in all 17 games. That's progress. That's phenomenal. After only appearing in 7 or 6.5, depending on how you want to categorize that Broncos game last year. Okay, he appeared in all 17. And if this was an attendance trophy, he'd have 100%. But it's not. Garrett Wilson had over 1,000 yards. Okay, that's nice. Not bad. First Jets receiver ever do that in his first 2 seasons. Okay, that's nice. But this is a results-oriented business. It's about scoring touchdowns. Jets didn't do enough of that. How could I possibly give a better than a D minus grade for an offense that struggled? Plus, when you consider the hype factor, I don't know how that factors into the grading scale of Woodyology, but we expected it here. And then it was, well, I'm not sure how low that goes. And you could say, but Aaron Rodgers. And, the Browns had some quarterback issues. Oh, yeah, they're in the playoffs. They're playing this weekend. We're on the couch. Interesting. Indianapolis, quarterback issues. They were on the doorstep. They were in a play-in game on Saturday. Figured it out. Okay? There are multiple teams in the AFC playoffs. Multiple. that have backup quarterback issues. Mason Rudolph, there's the other one for the Pittsburgh. 2 teams, quarterback issues, they made it in the playoffs. Jets are watching from home. There's no excuse. So it's a D minus. Okay. Again, the only reason it's not an F is because I love Brees Hall. I love Garrett Wilson. It was a career year for Tyler Conklin as well in multiple categories, believe it or not. Even though he never caught a touchdown this year, that was still a little weird that a starting tight end in the NFL did not catch a touchdown. But that speaks to the greater issue of why the grade is what it is ultimately with this squad not scoring touchdowns. And the last time I checked, that's how offenses are graded on scoring. And unfortunately, this Jets team, well, quite frankly, didn't do enough of it. That's just the plain truth. Look at these offensive numbers that the Jets had. 22 points, 10 points, 10 points, 20 points, 31. Oh, wow. 20, 13. By the way, that 31 against the Denver Broncos included a pick six or a scoop and score from old Bryce Hall. So they had some extracurricular activities in that. 13 against the Giants. 6, 12, 6, 13, 8. I mean, come on. Need I go more? You need to score points. The Jets didn't score points. You got a fat D minus. That's what happens there. That's what happens there, Woody.
Wow. Boy Green, do you guys see this right now? You guys hear this, man? Boy Green, just the most negative Jets fan I've ever seen. It's like the shoe's on the other foot.
Yeah, well, you got to call it how you see it. When you see it on the line, you got to call it how you see it. All right, Woody, I'll start this one off for us on this one. Let's go to defense.
Right. I better hear a little bit more positivity for this one because this should. I mean, they did well.
This is on the defensive players. Defensive performance is what we're grading, and I'm going to give them a B. A B is what I'm going to give them. Now, it wasn't the 1985 Chicago Bears, TJ Reed. I'm afraid not. I'm afraid we didn't quite get there on the legendary level. But health-wise, outside of Chuck Clark, people keep forgetting that one. They lost him, unfortunately. He was supposed to be that glue guy on the back end of the defense. That never happened, so Jets had to kind of pivot with Tony Adams, Ashton Davis, Jordan Whitehead, obviously, stepping up to a larger role. So injury-wise, they were pretty good. Al Woods, they lost in the middle of the year. Quentin Jefferson, they lost at the tail end of the year. So they lost a couple of guys here and there. But overall, the overall health was there for this Jets team. And they did a remarkable job. Bryce Huff getting 10 sacks. Very nice. Double-digit sack pass rusher back-to-back years. That's phenomenal after that big gap. The Jets hadn't had a double-digit sack pass rusher prior to last year with Quinnen until 2015, which was Muhammad Wilkerson. So there's big gaps of time. So there, a couple of Pro Bowlers. Quinnen, Sauce. Okay, very nice. Very nice. But ultimately, there was too many lapses. Cleveland, embarrassment. Dolphins, embarrassment, the 30-0. I'm talking about the second game in that, 30-0. The Cleveland Browns game. Like, again, this is, if we say this is a results-oriented business, there was too much. The Cowboys game where they got sliced and diced. I was there at that game week 2. Absolutely laid an egg. Zach Wilson, I thought, actually wasn't even half bad in that game till the fourth quarter when he started forcing things around. So if the defense would have had some more respectable performance early, maybe that Cowboys game slips. Maybe if, again, we're judging performance, Sauce's drop pick 6, which could have completely changed the tenor of that game. I'm judging performance. I'm judging players. That is what I believe that I'm supposed to be judging here. Okay. Jermaine Johnson, get off the block, and maybe you sack Patrick Mahomes. Maybe you win that game too. So maybe you don't drop down 17-0 immediately in that Chiefs game. Maybe other things change from that perspective. So you could call me harsh, you could call me what you like, but ultimately at the end of the day, while there were some moments this year where they held teams to low point totals, there was too many lapses and then high expectations coming in with the 1985 Chicago Bears and Jets being in the same sentence. The second half collapse against the Washington Commanders, against Jacoby Brissett, maybe future Jets teammate Jacoby Brissett. So I think when you go through all of those factoids, and then the Browns one being one of the most embarrassing ones in a first half with everything to play for a short week, from that perspective, I just, I'm going to have to give them a B, which, hey, you know what? A B is not bad. Some people scrape by high school with Bs, and that's what this defense gets. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I don't know who put coal in this Boy Green stocking. All right. Everybody who's looking at this, reading this, Boy Green, how can you be saying this? Turn your frowns upside down, because for the second consecutive grade, your boy Wudi, is here to sprinkle some positivity.
Okay, do tell.
Okay, so I see your B. I'm not gonna lie, it's actually not that much higher. B plus. That's what I had. B plus. And again, this is we're talking specifically players. I liked how a few players attacked this offseason. Jermaine Johnson was one
Sure.
of them. They kind of highlighted what was going on in his life. He was given an opportunity. I actually think he could have been better overall, given the snap count and the opportunity that they gave him. But still, we saw a jump, and we're going to see him again next year. There was a lot of statistical regression, which is why I really couldn't feel comfortable going with an A or anything like that. And I know it's different things, right? Quinnen has the big, all pro year, right? So now he's a focal point of the defense. I think that's actually what has helped in part open up Bryce Huff to have that type of year. So we've seen a little bit of that. I love DJ Reed. Things were,
got toasted a few times this year. Got toasted a few times.
Hey, I mean, Jalen Waddle is a fast dude. He's a fast dude. Is he not? What do you
Well, okay, he's fast, but so what? DJ Reed, if DJ, and I don't think he's openly called for this because I think he respects his fellow teammate in Sauce, so he hopes they both get love in a perfect world. But Sauce, by default, I think with the name and the production, he has gotten a lot of hype. And thus, DJ Reed has fallen under the radar. Sauce is a Pro Bowl starter. DJ Reed wasn't even listed as an alternate in any world. Like Quincy Williams was a fifth alternate. Like, Jesus, that's pretty low. DJ Reed wasn't even listed on the sheet. So, again, he has been overlooked. And when you're overlooked, you have to be that much more spectacular to get the hype and pub to, it's almost big brother, little brother thing. In the big brother shadow, you have to do something special to jump up. And he certainly did that from an interception standpoint. Sauce with a big fat 0. DJ Reed, multiple picks. So you line those up, that's something. But again, got roasted and toasted a few times. And then you shoulder shrug, go, the guy was kind of fast. Okay, guess what? Spoiler alert, there's fast receivers in the NFL. Figure it out, pal.
Jalen Waddle's he's like a talent. Like he didn't get, beat by just like some burner. Jalen Waddle's a talented dude.
Didn't he get beat by Elijah Moore in the end zone for a touchdown? And then what we get for DJ Reed is if he gets out of position, he runs I don't even know who to, someone from Naruto going. That's how he gets, when he gets behind, he starts trying to chug the legs. He's trying to run. I'm going to get you.
I need to watch.
He gets toasted by Elijah Moore. Elijah Moore, is he good? Is he fast? Is he Jalen Waddle fast? What happened there? And so,
I mean, hey, these players. First of all, these players are human. Watch Week 1 overtime with the Buffalo Bills. DJ Reed is the man making multiple stops on Stephon Diggs, who is the best receiver we've named so far, making multiple plays. That's DJ Reed, one-on-one lockdown defense. He is a talented player. Of course, people get burned. Sauce has gotten burned. Sauce was left and right. Sauce. He looked lost in the sauce for the first couple of weeks this season. That's true. That is factual. But he has actually tightened up his tackling a bit. That actually factored into the B plus because I feel like the players themselves have actually worked on their weaknesses. Quincy too. With he used to just be a downhill type guy in coverage. I mean, Quincy he almost didn't have a weakness. So
perfect. Yeah.
DJ Reed, there were some plays that unfortunately made the highlight reel for other teams, but I still have complete faith in him. And I think a lot of these players played the game hard. Some of these docks that you're docking them, the Miami Dolphins game. I mean, think about starting a game and you're 2 yards away from the end zone. That's not on them. You cannot get on them.
Oh,
what
was that the reason he got toasted? Come on, that wasn't the 2-yard play.
No, but I'm saying because you said 30-0. I'm saying that onslaught is actually a result of offensive ineptitude. They have what they have to overcome is insane. That's why I can't even put the Ravens defense, the Niners defense, who actually they get to rest during the game. What does this Jets defense know about rest? They're on the field all game. Even when they make a play, DJ Reed. No, who made the pick in the first Dolphins game? I think it was DJ Reed. In the
Oh,
first Dolphins
the
game.
one that resulted in the
Hail Mary.
Hail
Yeah,
Mary. Yeah,
yeah.
that was his fault. So if he would just would
That's
have
his
dropped that
fault.
ball, that play would have never happened. So thanks for screwing us, DJ Reed.
All
Thanks
right,
for
now I
screwing us,
know you
pal.
just hating. You just hating.
Thanks for screwing us, pal.
Because that's what I'm saying. The defense makes a play like that. They celebrate and they're hyped. They're a talented group. And then something like that happens. That is offensive ineptitude. Yeah, it's easier to look at box scores and just be like, oh, 30 points. What was the defense doing? But if you look at the game and look at the game script, the Jets have been one of the worst teams in all of football with complementary football because the offense has been so bad. They can't even take advantage of the opportunities that the defense gives them. So I'm not going to dock the defense for that. I'm going to say, hey, keep your head up. And hopefully one day this offense won't suck.
Yeah, my problem is that I've gotten complaints about this from my family for the last 20 years. You see these glasses on my face? I've never gotten them changed. They're the same glasses forever, and they're going to be till I'm dead, probably. So maybe my glasses don't work. I didn't know this said Wudi Offensive and Defensive Performance Evaluation Report Card. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, it doesn't say that. These glasses... Yep, they still work. Wudi Defensive Performance Report Card. With the offense. Shut up, Wudi. It's the Defensive Performance Report Card. So stop whining and complaining about the offensive ineptitude. You already graded that.
Well, I guess it's time. Let's move on. It's time for me, right? Because
yes, that's correct. Yeah. Let's continue to tango. Special teams.
And if you say oh my God, boy, Green, you're lucky you're not in the same room. Because if you say anything bad about this next unit, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Okay.
All right.
What's your grade?
This has been a very special teams unit. All right. Let me say this publicly. Greg the Leg. Okay. Thomas Morstead, if you guys ever need a seat at the table, Wudi, there's always a seat at the table for you two gentlemen. Okay, my fantasy team walked their line. May they rest in peace. We didn't make it to the championship. We didn't even make it to the playoffs. But that is no reflection on Greg the Leg. That is more Austin Eckler being one of the biggest busts in all of fantasy this year. Okay. But they have been amazing. They are an A. They're an absolute A. I mean, this unit also was responsible. They single-handedly won a game. I'm talking about that week one, Xavier Gibson.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, let me not even say they won pretty much the whole game. I had it on my Instagram how Greg Zuerlein was responsible for more than double the points for the Jets than Zach Wilson. If I were to now do that this season, or at the end of the season, because that was like midway. I can't remember what week that was. But if I were to do that at the end, I'm pretty confident he would have more points than the QBs combined. We've been kicking field goals. He's been so consistent. Thomas Morstead flipping the field. The only reason why this is not an A+ is because I feel like Gibson did the exact opposite. He had that great return, and then he started muffing a few. He kind of had some.
That Bills game. That's what started the second Bills game. Was a fumble right off the opening kick, and I went, "Oh boy."
The Broncos, he had one. He just actually in the season finale, but he recovered. So yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about the return, but their coverage, like on their punts and their kickoffs, has been fantastic. So they really, to me, are a really good unit. I'm gonna give them an A.
Okay, well, this will be the first time that's happened. Let's put it right up an A. I agree, and my rationale for why it's not an A+, I'll start there and then work my way to positive, is a couple of issues. He only returned twice, and one of them was a fumble rooski, so they tried to throw him out there. That was a fumble. The Chargers game, the punt return allowed touchdown, completely changed the dynamic of that game, unfortunately. It was a blowout. They ended up losing 27-6, but they gave up that key punt return touchdown in a primetime game. And that's really where the Jet season died. If we kind of really hone in on that Raiders, Chargers, back-to-back primetime games of is the season hanging in the balance, Zach Wilson, if his foot isn't 2 inches out of bounds, the Jets win that game, which is kind of crazy to think about, which maybe changes how all of this is perceived. Instead of the Jets having a top 10 pick of the draft, is something else happening. So special teams wise, they had a few snafus, let's just say, of issues, but mostly overall, again, this is player performance. Greg Zuerlein was spectacular this year. Absolutely spectacular. Apparently not as much for Woody's fantasy team, but that's neither here nor there, I suppose. Greg Zuerlein, a 92.1 conversion rate, 35 of 38 this season. Spectacular. Here are the specific breakdowns. He was 8 for 8 from 20 to 29. From 30 to 39, he was 9 for 10. And 40 to 49, 13 of 14. And then from long range, 50-plus yard field goals, he was, of course, 5 of 6. And he only ended up missing one extra point. So a 93.8 conversion rate there as well. Greg the Leg was automatic. That Washington game, I knew he was going to make it. There was no second thoughts, and neither was that of the players as well. Of course, both Legatron, Greg Zuerlein, and Thomas Morstead are both pending free agents. So I think me and Woody could do this together of the spirit circles or whatever you need to do, not praise to be all. Sorry, that one's probably out of range too soon, but praise to be to this special teams unit. Zach Rosenblatt wrote it in his piece. The Jets have to do anything and everything in their power to retain these guys. Zuerlein had a spectacular year, and our guy and my guy who's joined me on my show several times, Thomas Morstead, 17 he appeared in all 17 games. Zuerlein actually missed one. He missed that Cowboys game. The Jets had to bring in Austin Seibert for that one. But he appeared in 16 to 17 games, that being of Zuerlein. Morstead appeared in all of them. He had 99 punts, 4,800 punt yards. He had a long of 62 this season. His average was 48.8, net of 41.8. He had 36 inside the 20, only 6 touchbacks, 28 fair catches. I mean, all the special teams numbers you can point to, and it sometimes gets a little nitty gritty for fans hearing special team stats, but the players performed admirably. And think about all the adversity. Justin Hardy gets injured in the middle of the year, has to go on IR. Irv Charles steps up, has that forced fumble in the Broncos game, which was a big play in that contest. So really the entire unit deserves a ton of love. Hardy is another guy who's a free agent. We'll see if he ends up coming back with the group as well. So to round out our player evaluations of offense, defense, and special teams, again, an A. It could have been an A+. I'm nitpicking a little bit with some big things that happened this year, but overall, it was spectacular. And if the Jets are as all in as they say they are, they need to bring back Morstead and Zuerlein 1,000% ahead of next season, pal.
Literally no question about it.
Okay. We'll throw it to you now. We will now shift over to the coaches. And we'll start on the offensive side of the ball, the offensive coaching report card. Again, we just gave you the evaluations for the performance, which again is player-driven report cards. Now we're shifting to the coaches. How did they do coaching the talent that they had available, and how they, again, quite frankly, just executed from that coaching perspective. So we'll start off with the offense. Woody, what do we got?
Well, I mean, you look at we agreed that the offense stunk, right?
Yeah.
And
terribly, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Your evaluation was a D- for the players. I said that it was a C.
Yeah, because average, you broke it down that way. Yeah.
The coaching was an F. There's literally
F?
no way to put it. Yeah, an F. There's
Wow.
literally not one thing from a coaching perspective where I could say, oh, they did this. They did not maximize anybody's ability. They didn't even know people's ability. They didn't know Breece Hall could catch. The man who leads the league in receiving yards as a running back, they didn't know he could catch. Okay? They kept Zach Wilson in the pocket. The boy has legs. He can move his legs. They kept him in the pocket. And when they decided to bench him, then they had Tim Statue Boyle running out, just throwing inaccurate balls, trying to hit Garrett Wilson. They literally had no idea what they were doing. The personnel, having Randall Cobb taking up all these snaps when there were other people out there, didn't even give Hardman a chance. I can't even say, when we talked about the players, neither of us mentioned Mecole Hardman because it's not fair to evaluate him. They didn't even play him. So who made that decision? I got to think Douglas asked somebody in the coaching staff, can we use him? And they said yes, and then proceeded to not use him. And then being very stubborn, Dalvin Cook
Oof.
just trying to force Dalvin Cook while he was just giving the ball away literally with fumbles, not sure what to do. They completely stunted Michael Carter's growth, made him look
Oh,
like
stop.
because
Michael Carter just stunk. That's the truth. He just stunk.
he just stunk. But he's in Arizona averaging 7 yards per carry. Like, what
That's
are
all
you
right.
talking about?
He's doing better over there.
That's all right. Somebody's
He's-
completely succeeding somewhere else, actually playing well and having highlight plays that the NFL posts on their account. That's all right.
He's
The
average.
the coaching,
He's average, but that's okay.
they completely failed him. They literally failed everybody. Anybody who had a good season, which is pretty much just Garrett and Brees, did it in spite of the coaching, in
Wow.
spite of being put in horrific circumstances. That same coaching staff can't even count. Brees should be a 1,000-yard rusher, but the coaches
I
they
can't believe that
even
really
count right.
happened. I can't believe that actually happened, but
They-
that
they-
apparently did.
So what can they do? What can they do? And you're talking about these numbers. You brought up they only scored this amount of points, this amount of points,
Mhm.
this amount of points,
Yeah.
this amount of points. Did you look at Nathaniel Hackett's Denver Broncos last year? It looks identical. And then what did Russell Wilson do as soon as Hack left the building? And I know his head coach doesn't like him, so we don't know what Russell's future
That's
is.
true.
But he has more touchdowns this season than he did last season, and all Jets QBs have this season combined. So that all you need to know about how Hackett cannot hack it. So I guess yes, hopefully Aaron can come in and be a quasi coach or whatever. But this coaching staff, I have not seen a worse coaching staff. If you wanted to talk about, the Browns could do it with backup QBs. They also had injuries to the O-line.
Mhm.
This team, guess who is responsible for putting their players in the best position? It's the coaches. The coaches have failed this team. This is an F. This is the worst possible grade I could give a group of human beings on this planet. Is the offensive coaching staff straight up F.
Well, we're gonna have to disagree here. So this may, this may just be different. So let that happen because I feel like you're missing the big picture here, Woody. I feel like you're missing the big picture because obviously the Jets are bringing everybody back. Keith Carter's back. Todd Downing's back. They're bringing back this entire staff that you just gave an F to. My grade is F as in, effed. Effed. F is in effed. That's what happened. So the slight difference is just the way that I'm saying it. Yeah, it was horrific, terrible. Every level of it, whether it was Keith Carter and this offensive line. I understand there's 13 different offensive line combinations, but they just didn't figure out the correct answers to the problems. The sticking with Zach Wilson, then jumping to Tim Boyle, then jumping to Trevor Siemian, then back to Zach Wilson, then, oh, wait, sorry, Zach Wilson, you're actually going to be traded in the offseason. Now he's on a mythical concussion thing where he's out for a month when he really wasn't. It's just an absolute mess. And I was listening. So Aaron Rodgers, of course, did the press conference everyone's seen that's in front of the media, but he also did a podcast with Eric Allen. And I listened to that on the way home ahead of this because I do sports talk radio and I drive home. It takes about 45 minutes an hour to give you guys all the specifics of my life you didn't ask for. And during that hour, I'm like, oh, Aaron Rodgers spoke with Eric Allen. Let me hear what he had to say. Maybe it's a little different. Hear him. And he being Aaron Rodgers, is so fired up to prove that this offense can work, was basically some of the conversation was happening there. He's like, he was as blunt as I've heard him be about the Nathaniel offense sucking this year. And he said that what happened is they had to strip everything back and they had to be non-creative because of the quarterbacks that had to go in there. And thus Hackett couldn't go into his bag basically. And he said, that's going to change next year because I'm going to be there. So I'm fired up that fires Aaron Rodgers up and that really Hackett is a better coach than he showed, according to Aaron Rodgers. So you know what? This year, they were effed. The coaching staff stunk. They did a terrible job. Garrett Wilson called it out. In-game adjustments were non-existent. The level of lack of creativity. And then the random spurts of creativity, but it was just too little too late. So this offensive coaching report card, I can't be more blunt, is the worst grade that I have on my entire grading sheet. And I'm just going to lay that out on the line right now. but everyone's coming back. So we have no choice but to believe. I mean, I guess you could just not believe and go into the season, but I have no choice but to believe and submit to the football gods. Okay, you know more than me. Please just let's make it all work. That's basically the gist. So that's what I must do for the offensive coaching report card is F as in, I will just censor it out.
I mean, we hope that it's just Rodgers, right? And then what that would do is actually change the offensive grade for the personnel because Rodgers is lifting the team, right? That's a player.
That's what a quarterback's supposed to do, right?
The performance. But what we've seen is that the coaches cannot coach people up. They cannot develop anybody, and that's why it's an F. Even if the Jets win the Super Bowl, I don't think it's because Hackett became magically a good coach. No, Rodgers was healthy. Rodgers was healthy. Joe Douglas got.
So wait a second. You're saying Adam Gase didn't make Peyton Manning? Is that what you're telling me?
That is what we're saying.
Right.
That is what we're saying.
Right.
I know McCagnon is still running that one back. Like, are you sure? But yes, that is exactly how that works.
Okay. Let's go to the defensive coaching. Jeff Ulbrich and his staff. How did they do, in Woody's opinion? What's the grade there, pal?
Well, a lot of the things that I criticize the offensive coaches about, not getting the best out of their players.
Yeah, development. Yeah.
Not being able to adjust to injury. Aaron got injured 4 weeks into the season, and in week 18, they didn't look any better than they looked at the 5th snap of the first week.
Yeah.
They all of that ineptitude, not putting guys in places to succeed, right? Keeping Zach in the pocket where he's better mobile.
Yeah.
Everything that you could say was an F, the defensive coaches actually did pretty well.
So?
A-.
Oof, there's no way.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, I'm dead serious. There's no way. But
one of the league's best defenses? What they did.
In what category?
What do you mean? In what category? They led the league in pressures with being last in blitzes. They are a great defense. That is crazy. If you're going to actually say out loud that the Jets do not have one of the top defenses in the league going against the teams that they went against with playing as many snaps on the field as they did.
What happened in the Browns game?
What happened in the Browns game? Joe Flacco did exactly what Joe Flacco did or has done every game, right? And the Jets actually got a pick 6 for the first time in Lord knows how long. You're going to say one game? What happened in the Eagles game? What did they do to Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, CJ Stroud? Like, what are you
Dak
talking
Prescott?
about? Dak Prescott?
Yeah, what happened to that one?
What do you mean what happened in that one?
Joe Flacco, what happened to that one?
I told
Tua,
you.
the second game, what happened to that one?
Tua, the second game, he was getting the ball 2 yards out from the end zone. That's what's happening. That's what's happening.
Yeah, that's how they scored 30 points.
They're getting Hail Married, whatever we're calling that same egregious play. This is crazy that you're going to say there is nothing, or let me not say nothing, but the defensive coaching staff was outstanding. Look at what they developed. They literally took the saying, take one man's trash and that's another man's treasure. Quincy Williams is our treasure. He was discarded. He was cut like he was nothing. And they took this man and turned him into an all-pro caliber. I know the media
not a Pro Bowler. Not a Pro Bowler.
I'd say he's an all-pro caliber. Look at the talent. Look at the stats. Look at what he has done on the field. Somebody woke up on the wrong side of the bed today, and that man's name is Boyd Green. But I'm here to tell you, Jets fans, that you have an amazing team. This coaching staff has built up Quincy Williams, Bryce Huff, undrafted, took him and just made him a household name.
Yeah, but isn't he leaving as a free agent anyway?
What does that have to do with the coaching staff?
Well, the coaching staff, maybe they should have played him a few more defensive snaps. That's apparently one of his big beefs with the team. That would be on the coaches, would it not? The snap percentage?
The coaches are the reason why he is in the position that he's even in. They are the ones that helped develop his skill set and gave him the minutes to actually be out there.
Quincy Williams
that
is a
true?
5th alternate in the Pro Bowl. 5th alternate.
Who is?
Quincy Williams is a 5th alternate in the Pro Bowl.
So you think that
Yeah.
is an accurate measure of his ability?
I'm just
You
saying
think,
stats,
you think
man.
he's the
5th
fifth?
alternate.
So you think he's the 7th best linebacker in the AFC?
Only 2 Pro Bowlers on this Jets defense. There's 11 starters.
So so is that what you're saying? Let me hear you say. Let me hear you say that Quincy Williams is the 7th best linebacker at best in the AFC.
Well,
Let me
that's
hear you
obviously
say it.
what the Pro Bowl votes say. I mean,
The Pro Bowl. Tyler Huntley is a Pro Bowler. I literally couldn't care less about what the Pro Bowl votes say. I do not care about what the Pro Bowl votes say. Tyler Huntley, like all these bums have been Pro Bowls. Well, I need you to say, Boy Green. I cannot leave this point without you saying that Quincy Williams is a 7th at best, right? 5th alternate linebacker in the AFC. Let me hear it.
those stats are stats. He is a 7th.
So what do you mean the stats are the stats? Look at his stats. His stats are tops in the league.
He's a 5th alternate, pal. He's a 5th alternate, so that's where he stands in the AFC linebackers. Yep, it's what it is, man.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you hear it. You hear.
Yeah.
I literally cannot believe what I'm hearing. I'm turning my hands to the other direction because I was pointing in the wrong direction. But Quincy has been developed. He is one of the league's best linebackers. You already know. Just like how we said, overshadowing with DJ Reed, Quincy Williams is absolutely a snub. You look at the numbers. His numbers are better than just about any linebackers in the NFL. That is a fact. As a matter of fact, Quinnen's are not. I don't even know Quinnen had a Pro Bowl season, but
wow. Oh, so he shouldn't have been a Pro Bowler. Strip the Pro Bowl off of Quinnen Williams. Okay, there's the Wudi take.
I'm just saying numbers, right? Pro Bowls really don't mean jack. That's what I'm saying.
I'd push back on that, and for 2 reasons. First off, I'm a big Pro Bowl fan, so I love the Pro Bowl. And number 2, if Pro Bowl wasn't that big of a deal, why is it built into the contracts? How about this? Sauce Gardner, to make 2 Pro Bowls in his first 3 years, just gave him a contract raise. So apparently, it means something.
Yeah. I mean, it's a prestigious honor, but how people have
you just put that in quotes. That's very ingenuine, sir. Very ingenuine.
But that's a fact. Quotes. That's a fact, though. It's still a subjective award where people get snubbed every year. Well, and Quincy Williams was snubbed. It just is what it is.
Well, here's another snub. My defensive coaching grade is a full letter different. B-. B-. Okay.
Huge snub.
They get a couple of credits for the Eagles game. Jeff Ulbrich cooking up with no Sauce, no DJ, and
that's a miracle. That's a miracle.
Yeah, that's a miracle. By the way, I remember our Boy Green Daily Wudi. You said what? There wasn't a snowball's chance in hell of the Jets winning that game with those corners missing, if I do believe. And wait. Oh yeah, Boy Green picked a win in that one. So I don't know who's
Boy
the
Green
positive.
Literally picks a win every game.
I don't remember the statistics. We weren't keeping track of that sort of thing, so not really sure. All I can tell you is the facts.
More L's than dubs.
Yeah, all I can tell you is the facts. And the facts were this. I picked them to win. You picked them to lose because you're a big hater. But anywho, let me get back to the point. They deserve a lot of credit for like that Eagles game where Tay Haynes. Who is that? Honestly, I'm still not convinced that's a real person. Craig James. I mean, Bryce Hall. The guys that he cobbled together. Jeff Ulbrich deserves an unbelievable amount of credit for that. My problem is I just wish he was a little more consistent. He had a couple of Sports Center top 10 highlights. I'm like, oh, there's Ulbrich. Nice. Far too many inconsistencies for my liking. Plus, if we look at a couple of those things, what about the run defense? It was holy, and I'm not talking about in the religious sense. Okay, they were a little giving in that category throughout the entire season. And sure, there have been.
Baby.
What was that? What?
Bend, don't break,
Oh,
baby.
okay. Yeah.
There-
You know what? Know who says that? People whose defenses suck and give up a lot of yards. They say that it's a made up term we've used to make people feel good about it. Okay, because like here's the thing: if you take that away and they were just really good in the yards, and I go bend not break, you'd be like, that's stupid. No, we don't bend nor break. We're just solid foundation. But because they did bend a lot, and what do you mean no break? As I take a peek ski at the points, some of the points this season, they allowed 30 to the Cowboys. Who else do they allow 32? Oh, they allowed 30 to the Dolphins. Oh, okay.
But
Oh, wait, they allowed
you see
30
what
to
I'm
the
saying? But
Dolphins
how do you not take
again.
field position into account with those?
Browns.
If they get field position, time of possession, like these things matter. These things matter. They're on the field more than any other defense in the league, and they are stopping them more often than not.
Woodyology, how many classes do you teach? Is excuses one of them? Because I'd like to take that class. You seem pretty
It's
familiar in
literally
that
not an excuse.
category.
Like that is facts. That
Pretty
is
familiar
facts.
in that category. Pretty familiar. Anywho, again, gets credit for the Eagles game, but again, overall, didn't do enough. There was too many lackluster inconsistencies, giving up 30 points. And sure, did your offense stink? Do you want to whine about offense? Okay. Then you guys got to step up. If you're the 1985 Chicago Bears, as they praise themselves to be, as they crown themselves to be, if you want to crown them, then crown our ass. That's what Dennis Green once said. God rest his soul. Okay. You want to crown him, the crowner. You want to put that on yourself. The pressure and target is on your back to deliver. And they didn't enough to carry this lame, lackluster offense without Aaron Rodgers throughout the season. They were unable to do it.
Is there a win that you would say that the offense won?
Yeah.
Which win?
What about Giants, baby? Nice.
The Giants?
Last second Zach Wilson drive to win the game.
The Giants game?
Yeah.
You mean the same game where the Jets defense didn't even allow them a first down in the second half? Like they were just running.
What about Denver? Brees Hall running for $170? That do it
Denver?
for you? Yeah.
The same game where the defense had they literally scored 7 points.
What about the Eagles game? What about the Eagles game where a Brees Hall last second touchdown takes the lead?
They got 3 turnovers and kept giving the what are you talking about, Boy Green?
What about the Washington Commanders? What about that?
I'll give you the Commanders.
Thank you.
I'll give you the Commanders. Okay, you got one win. The one win.
What about New England rushing for $170? Second New England game.
I'll actually say that the reason why they jumped up so quickly was because of those turnovers that the defense forced. I'll still give it to you.
Okay, but you want to know what I'm not going to give you? I'm not going to give you Washington on the other side because your crappy defense gave up so many points in the second half that they had to come back in the game. And Jets offense was like, I thought we put up enough points on the board. Apparently not. This crappy Jets defense was saloon doors.
Well, I said I was going to give you that game, but it would have been nice because they gave Trevor Siemian how many possessions to start in plus territory? And he scored one touchdown in 3, 1 and 3.
It's hard to
count. 1 and 3.
Hard to count. Hard to count.
I gotta get you. When is your birthday, Boy Green? I gotta get you a calculator.
April 26th. It's right at the draft every year.
Oh, you haven't been getting a lot of good presents this year for your birthday, then.
Ooh, hey now, I can't wait for Will McDonald again this year. That should be good. Anywho, we'll get into those grading. All right, we'll pick up the pace for these last couple here as we wrap up. Let's go. I don't know who's first in this, but special teams.
You go.
Okay, A-. Again, I thought they did a spectacular job, all things considered, even as we heard in some of the comment section. So thanks for the comments wherever you guys are doing it. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We appreciate them all. Irvin Charles had some splash moments in a good way, but also some splash moments in a bad way. A lot of you have pointed out in the comment section. And like I said, there was some of the other stuff. This is on coaching. This is on putting the guys in proper position. And again, coaching decisions on some of these. And some of those, and even we went back to the player section on special teams coaching, like Michael Clemens jumping off sides in the Giants game, which could have lost them the game on that critical fourth down, that bled more clock, could have lost out. Those are some of the difference we're talking about when we're talking about players and then coaches and then grading the same thing. overall, Brant Boyer is one of the best in the business. And the stat that I can point to you, and it trumps all stats, look how many head coaches of the Jets he's been able to survive. To me, I think that's the greatest stat to tell you how good of a job you must be doing to survive multiple people coming in. Because when coaches come in, they want their own guys. And why do they not want their own guy, Brant Boyer? Because he's so freaking good. So major shout out to Brant. And he's been a reason I've talked to some of these Jets players, and they've told me some of the reasons they've chosen the Jets is because of Brant Boyer, some of the special teams players in the Jets I've spoken to. So A-.
Well, take those last 3 sentences, because those were literally about to be my first 3 sentences. Praising Brant Boyer, the man who has survived many regimes, and he is the reason A+. I mean, I truly believe he is the best in the biz. Of course, there are hiccups. You know, no unit is absolutely positively perfect, but his coaching has
apparently it is to you because it's an A+ here, but okay.
I mean, his coach, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It could not have been better. I don't think there's something that he could have done. I mean, for what it's worth, right? For human error to take in account, this was as good as it gets. Brant Boyer, he's that dude.
Okay, here's our final category. It is this. It's kind of an overall generic category. Woody, you'll start this off. It's on the GM/roster construction, because the general manager is responsible for buying the ingredients from the store and giving it to these coaches to then utilize. So we're talking free agency, we're talking draft, we're talking this calendar year, off-season calendar year. So since the 2022 season ended and then the off-season started for Joe Douglas, all of those GMing and roster construction decisions he made, and then the season started. And even in the season, as injuries happen and a decision here or there to pursue things or not pursue things, all of those, again, are factored in to this final category. So, Woody, what is your grade for Joe Douglas and the overall roster construction that he was responsible for?
Well, anyone who has talked to me in the last 4 months knows how I feel about the job that Joe Douglas has done, and how I feel about his tenure as a GM. But, this is an objective show. I'm an objective grader. I'm going to get the glasses back on for this one, for the last grade here. Yeah. So, I really looked at pros and cons. And obviously, getting Aaron Rodgers, that's a big one. Mm-hmm. That is, I also, people are going to talk about the advanced stats with Cook. I liked the signing at the time.
I did too. I love the signing, and I would double down on that to say that Dalvin's failure, I don't think makes me feel any less about the signing in general. I think it was how the coaching staff utilized him, which goes on coaching. But go ahead.
Yeah, I would actually agree. Hardman, I wasn't as high on, but obviously the
we never saw him, that poor bastard, so we don't even know what the vision could have been. Yeah.
But I mean, obviously everyone's going to talk about how they sat on their hands when Rodgers went down. I mean, correct. I feel like that is absolutely inexcusable. The one, because I feel like a lot of hindsight is getting right, like because a lot of people do say, "Oh, Cook, how do you not know?" A lot of hindsight, but one thing that's definitely not hindsight is how poorly the wide receiver room was built. Ooh. I was very sad when Elijah Moore was gone. I know Odell probably wouldn't, have made too much of a splash, and I was not trying to pay him $20 million. Lazard didn't really move the needle for me. I think the real big one that makes this a huge miss is passing up JSN. They took 9 minutes and 52 seconds of the 10-minute clock to pick somebody who was a non-factor this season. No disrespect to the kid, Will McDonald.
So what is your grade for this? My
apologies. It's a C. It's a C-. I try because Aaron Rodgers is big. Rodgers is big. So, that's a big pro.
Just as you're going through this, so the fans that are watching can see this as well. I just want to make sure.
Yes. No, I apologize.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yes. Okay. So
there you go. C-. Wow.
I got a C- because the wide receiver room, it was, that's just crazy. And then when Corey Davis retires, to be like, oh, we're good. Yeah. Why did you say that? Why do you think that? The offensive line, that's a really interesting one. Mm-hmm. I definitely thought it was unwise at the time to rely on 2 tackles that were just very injured the year before. Like, I know conventional wisdom, it's like, oh, you were hurt last year. you're going to be better this year. But, like that's usually how that works. But like Mekhi Becton has like a huge history, like a very long injury history.
He does.
Wayne Brown played the entire last season hurt and then had surgery. Why was that the plan? Why was that play? I don't even understand. And when you're like filming Hard Knocks, like you're that late into the season or the training camp, and you literally don't have a starting five. Like you don't even know. Like, Elijah Vera-Tucker can be playing multiple positions. You have no idea. That is a very, very bad sign and a very bad reflection. I'm actually kind of talking myself into lowering this grade right now. Like it was so bad. I just, Rodgers is huge, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
And like obviously they didn't know he was going to get hurt. His durability is actually remarkable. So that's what builds it up to a C-. But if they got any other QB, like if they got
Derek Carr, right?
Yeah, I mean this would have to be a D. It would have to be a D because they failed so bad. Like O-line should have been obvious. Wide receiver was obvious. That's the big one. Passing up JSN, and I don't really like the draft class at all. Any of them.
All right. Well, we're in simpatico on this one. I have a C-, and here's
with an agreement. Wow.
And it is, and it's interesting because I have a lot of the same thoughts that you do as we're wrapping up the show here. Is that the reason why it's this base level? Some people would go lower for all the some of the criticisms you mentioned. He got Aaron Rodgers, a Pro Football Hall of Famer that had won MVPs in 2 of the last 3 years at the time he acquired him. Phenomenal to me. And the final season of Aaron Rodgers last year with Green Bay, I thought was terrible for a lot of explainable reasons. The busted thumb of Aaron Rodgers and playing through because he's a trooper, the terrible players around him, the just all these things kind of factored into this whole thing collapsing like a used lawn chair, in my opinion. So for that, acquiring Aaron Rodgers, getting an answer at quarterback. Now the Achilles blown out, but I'm not doing hindsight 2020. I'm grading this on the construction of the team and how. Again, for instance, Aaron Rodgers, my dad hates that I bring up this stat all the time, which makes me want to say it even more often. Entering this season, Aaron Rodgers had appeared in 81 of 82 possible games. The only game he missed was COVID. So over a 5-year span, to me, that's a very large sample size to judge someone off of. And this is recency. This isn't, he appeared in 81 of 82 games in the first 4 years of his career back in 2009. No, that's stupid. Recently, he has been an NFL Ironman in terms of his appearance, attendance in games and being available. And this season, it exploded. Now, you're right. To your point, like Mekhi, wow. His injury history, you must factor into the evaluation process because he's missed so much time. How could it not be a factor in decision-making? But Rodgers being so healthy over a large period of time, you have to assume that's going to continue to be the case. There's been no sign that, oh boy, he's getting frail, he's getting old, he's not looking the same. None of that was existent. That's hindsight for all those people said, oh, he's an old man, blah, blah, blah. No. The stats were the stats. So again, there is a basis level to this grade for me of acquiring Aaron Rodgers, but then that's where everything goes out the water. The not getting Odell Beckham Jr., I thought he would have made a difference. I know he stunk this year. I wrote an article about it for Heavy on Jets today because there's an ESPN reporter analyst that predicts that OBJ will end up on the Jets this time around in the offseason. And we could do more on that in a separate video or something in the future. But the point is that Elijah Moore, you traded for a half-eaten bag of Doritos. Okay. I don't know about the personal things that happen in the locker room. I'm not in there. I don't know. But all I know is you traded him for a net negative value, and he's a talented player. Corey Davis retires. Alan Lazard, you invest $44 million in. That was the highest paid free agent wide receiver of any wide receiver in football. Just look one over at someone who was paid equally or near on the same ballpark. Jacoby Myers was thrilling for the Raiders this year. Juju was trash, so fine. Put Juju aside of some of the receivers that got paid, but Lazard was an epic flop. Randall Cobb was an invested piece of the rotation. Okay, so you had Garrett Wilson and a bunch of other guys, and that's what it ended up being by the end of the year. So I spit on Joe Douglas for what he did with this wide receiver. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. Dalvin Cook thing, luxury ad, the insurance policy, all those reasons I was all for it. The offensive line I thought had a chance to be average. I thought they could be average, and I thought that would be enough with Aaron Rodgers. He could make up the difference of being so good that average was fine. and ultimately that stuff didn't pan out. In terms of the draft class, Will McDonald played the fewest amount of snaps of any Jets first rounder since Vernon Golston. Shout out to Rich Cimini for that wonderful statistic I didn't know I needed to know. So the fact of the matter is Will McDonald has huge shoes to fill for the future. JSN should have been the pick. He would have been that piece that we're searching for right now. We would have already had in the bag, learning the system for a year heading into this. That part is an incredibly frustrating portion of the exam. The thing I am excited about, Joe Tippmann. He looks pretty good. Looks like he'll be a solid guy. Is he a Pro Bowler? Is he an All-Pro? I don't know. I don't know offensive line enough to be able to tell you that mumbo jumbo, but he looks like a solid piece that if you just keep him at center, he's going to be good. So I'm excited for that. But overall roster construction, C-. They weren't prepared for backup quarterback. Not only were they not prepared ahead of time for that decision, when it happened, that's another part of roster construction, reacting to things that happen. Go like, for instance, Breece Hall goes down last year. They're like, we need to go get a guy. All right, James Robinson. Did that work out? No. It also, he ended up scoring a touchdown that upset one of the Buffalo Bills last year. But the point is that he reacted. He said, crap, we need to do something. They did nothing. They eventually signed Trevor Siemian, who lost the backup quarterback job to Jake Browning, who ended up being pretty halfway good himself. But the point is that they didn't react well enough. The roster construction was terrible. And man, that's going to be this last bullet point is going to be a huge if he does well, the Jets could compete for a Super Bowl next year. If he does not, Robert Saleh, and a lot of people are going to be begging for change on one Jets drive because they're going to be thrown out of the building. That's a fact of the matter. All right, well, Wudi, this was an hour episode of Boy Green Meets Wudi, going through all the report card grading system. We were live on your Instagram. We were live on YouTube. We were live on Twitter, or for people that are watching after the fact. Wudi, any final thoughts here as we sign off? And the next time we'll see you is Thursday at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I mean, I hope you guys had as much fun as I did. Anybody who has any questions about the grades or, wants to stay after for some extra credit, feel free to slide into the DMs. Boy Green loves that. Mine as well at the James Wudi. And we'll be fixing some grades.
Okay. We'll let you guys know what the topic is coming up for Thursday. But again, it will always be live at 3 o'clock on Tuesdays and Thursdays and be streaming live in 3 different places, my YouTube, my Twitter, and the James Wudi on Instagram. Thanks, everybody, for supporting. Show some love, tell a friend, and hopefully this is a show you guys really enjoy as part of the new rotation here of Jets content. Wudi, we'll see you on Thursday, pal.
Absolutely. JETS.
Jet. By the way, I was right. My